An Ontario woman has pleaded guilty to fraud after falsely claiming Inuit status for her twin daughters, who later received big scholarships reserved for Indigenous students. But as Juanita Taylor shows us from Iqaluit, this case is about much more than money.
Can I have bread? I do, yeah.
Friends and family gathered at Noah Noah's house to show their support.
We've definitely been very happy with the outcome. It was very emotional. And it was justice for Mom, for sure.
That justice came Friday when Karima Manji pleaded guilty to one count of fraud over $5,000. Manji falsely listed Noah's mother, Kitty Noah, as the birth mother of her twins, Amira and Nadia Gill, in order to get them Inuit status. The twins were also charged with fraud, but those charges were withdrawn.
It's a shame the twins didn't get anything, but we're happy that they got the mom.
Kitty Noah died last summer. She and Manji knew each other when Manji lived here in Iqaluit for a short time during the 90s. Manji then moved to Ontario, where her twins were born in 1998.
In an agreed statement of facts, Manji admitted she provided her daughters with fraudulent Inuit enrollment cards and that they were unaware the cards were fraudulent. The statement also reveals the Gill sisters received close to $160,000 in scholarships meant for Inuit students. Lawyer Ann Crawford says this particular Indigenous identity theft stands out.
The criminal charges against the twins have been dropped, but that doesn't mean it's the end of the story. There's still the possibility of a civil lawsuit to reclaim the money.
Nunavut Tungavik Incorporated maintains the Inuit enrollment list. It says this case is about more than just money.
It's a fraudulent case, but I think it begs the question about whether or not there needs to be a larger discussion about non-Indigenous peoples claiming Indigenous identity.
Noah agrees.
It's a systemic
Posing as an Indigenous person should be a crime in this country.
Like, who gets the right to say who is Indigenous or not, right? To claim to be Indigenous should be illegal. Who's going to enforce that law? The colonial government? Like, I'm sorry, I understand what you're trying to say, but no. You are not going to hand over the colonial government the right to say who is and isn't Indigenous. That's absurdity, bro. I'm sorry, I understand what you went through. Well, actually, I don't at all in any way, but like, think about for a second what you're saying. To claim to be Indigenous should be, and to you know, who has the right to say that? You cannot make that a law that can be enforced by the state. I'm sorry. And I completely understand that, but like, this is why it benefits. This is why it's on the news, is because it benefits the state to then undermine people who might be, you know, disconnected from their heritage, but still have Indigenous land title, right? And you don't get to give the state the right to say who is and isn't Indigenous. I mean, if you want to create a separate law that can be oversought by the First Nations, sure, but like, no, I'm sorry, but no, like, that's a very dangerous thing to say. What if you said that about people in other places of the world, to claim that if you were Indigenous would be fraudulent, right? Like, this is, we're setting up a pretext for some like neo-colonial insanity that we should not be co-signing. And that's why they externalize this shit. That's why they externalize these stories. And they individualize it as if, how could people do that? Instead of, why does the state let this happen?